Bam.
Hello, everyone. How are
Welcome.
you?
Oh, good. And I trust your Easter was a good Easter. I mean, that was a week
Yeah.
ago or whatever, but
But
still,
yeah.
yeah. Good weekend, Easter. And of course, the weather's really nice around here. So I've got to address the elephant in the room
Okay. What is the
before we go.
elephant?
Well, the elephant is on my forehead. Let me get a
Oh,
little closer.
yeah. Look.
Right there it is.
So what happened to you?
Okay, so when my bride and I bought our current residence,
And a lovely bride you have.
yes, a couple of years ago, um, I noticed it had clotheslines in the backyard because it's an older house. Um,
Okay.
but I just ignore them. They're off to the side. Who's ever going to be over there? Well, this weekend I was killing some vines and stuff. We're trying to clear out the area, and I'm just spraying away. And I stood up right where the pole end. For the top, the crossbar, and bam, into my head. Actually, I was a little dazed.
Oh my gosh. You
Anyway,
almost knocked yourself out.
I did almost knock myself doing the weeds. And this looked even worse yesterday. But I mean, it's up on the billboard part of your face, and it's screaming, "Hey, ask about this."
Oh my goodness.
So that's what's happening. I'm fine, but
And head injuries bleed a lot, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Which is crazy. I don't know.
Yeah,
what makes that happen.
But, and that's another thing. When I go to get blood taken,
Uh-huh.
I mean, they have it so hard a time finding out. I said, "Look, let me cut my ear with my razor, and you'll have all the blood you need." It bleeds for days, like I was shot in my ears. Anyway, it's great to be here, even with my little mark on my forehead, and doing our show.
How was your real estate the weekend, though?
Great. It's great. We've got a couple more listings coming on here shortly. And you know what's great is, I want to talk about this morning, if it's cool, is first-time home buyers.
Mm-hmm.
Because this market, on one side of the coin, isn't very friendly to first-time home buyers. So you really have to mind your P's and Q's when you're getting ready. If you and your special person want to buy a house together, to think about it in the right way earlier rather than later.
Yeah.
Even especially in a market like this,
Agreed.
because the rates are a little high compared to 3 or 4 years ago. The market doesn't have the inventory we'd love to have yet. So the thing is you really have to plan. And that includes, okay, what kind of place do we want to buy? Where do we want to buy it? But the answer to all that stuff, and this is going to sound very self-serving, but then again, we are realtors.
We are.
And
this is unanswered.
Absolutely. So I'm answering my own questions right now. Find a great realtor, and the one that knows the marketplace, but has been down the road many, many times and knows what to expect and all that kind of stuff. Also has good connections with mortgage folks, people to do repairs, all that kind of stuff. Their network is crucial. So you want to get that expert who understands the process and can help you with this stuff. So I'd say that's probably your first move, even if it's a year away. Find that person and have them help you with getting ready to buy that house. Because, you really got to plan. Well, the obvious is the monetary part. You got to understand what your down payment might be, considering the price of the house you can afford or whatever. That also is something you need to find out. Your realtor is going to have lenders they work with and rely on with a relationship. Now, that doesn't mean we're getting any money when we refer to them. That's absolutely not the case. But they do such a good job. That's why they're on the team.
But I would say this. I would ask, because here's the thing. So the people we work with, we've been working with for quite some time.
Yeah.
And we've closed many deals with them.
Yeah.
So we have a history with them. Sometimes, and we've talked about this before, brokerages are pushing their vendors, but they don't have a history with them. So as a first-time home buyer, or any home buyer, but as a first-time home buyer, as the case is this time, I would ask, what is your history with the vendors that you are suggesting? Because you want to know how many times has that agent actually closed with these vendors? Because if they haven't closed very many times, how are they going to prepare you?
Yeah, exactly.
How are they going to prepare for the process? You would think the process is the same, but it's not.
And, I always say my motto to first-time home buyers is there are no stupid questions, because this is the biggest purchase you're probably ever going to make in your life. So there really are no stupid questions. And if the person you've retained to be your agent or realtor thinks there are stupid questions, maybe you didn't make a great choice there.
Your picker was broke.
Absolutely. So make sure your picker is in good shape. Get the realtor that your business is primary for them. So their connections, their relationships, you can ask any question you want, and you should get a direct answer to that question immediately, actually. So that's the most important thing, is to get that realtor so that they can help you with the process. So they really don't make any money until you buy a property. So if only for the financial reasons, it's in their best interest, the realtor's best interest, to give you all the great scoop, the skinny, so that you can eventually buy that dream home. That's when we get paid.
Right.
So
they work for free up until then.
that's
They're
right.
absolutely working for free up until then. And so don't attorneys. And
Yeah, right. That's right. So all the things associated with buying a new home or buying a home, period. Your realtor's going to know, and they can direct you, and they can say, okay, here's the first thing we want to do. Financially, what are you looking like? And then the neighborhoods and how much can you spend, and what are your needs? And that process begins, but it starts with a great realtor. And I know that sounds self-serving, but honestly, that's the way to go. Even if you've bought homes before, knowing the process, understanding what's coming up before it gets there, and maybe how to avoid that problem. That's what realtors specialize in.
yeah, absolutely. And right now, honestly, everyone keeps asking when's the best time to buy. Right now is the best time to buy. There is absolutely no question about it in my mind that right now is the best time to buy. We are in that sweet spot, and the summer market is getting ready to hit. And the inventory is low. So once the summer market hits, it's starting to, what I feel, and this is just my Tomasina's personal prediction. We're going to go into some bidding
Which
wars
is
here at the
usually
beginning.
right. Her vibe is usually
So
right.
right now, for first-time home buyers, get in there, put your offers in. You may still have a little bit of a back and forth, because I have seen in the three to 400 range, multiple offers now are starting to come.
Yeah.
More and more and more
Yeah.
and more. And then I even heard in the 500 to 700, they're starting to come too. So
Yeah.
now's the time to get it, so you don't have as many people fighting for it. People are getting their tax returns back.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the start of it. That's always the start,
Yeah.
because people are waiting for that extra little bit of money
Yeah.
that they're getting back in order to put down. And so now is the time to buy.
Yeah. And the thing about thinking, well, the rates are so high, maybe I'll just keep renting. Well, you're blowing your money out, and you're paying the owner of that real estate's mortgage instead of you investing in you and your family by buying a house. And yeah, there's a little money involved, but there are programs.
There are programs where there doesn't have to be barely any money involved.
Exactly.
And you can actually get the home for the amount of money that you're renting, or less.
Yeah.
We actually just had someone who ended up, when they purchased the home, pay less for their monthly payment on their mortgage than what they were renting. And they got a bigger home.
Absolutely. And when you live in an area like we do in
Yeah.
southeastern Virginia, with the largest naval base in the world,
Yep.
VA loans are a big thing around here.
Huge.
So if you're in the military or you have VA status that you can, get that mortgage, dude, you're not paying any down payment.
No.
And you're not, there's all kinds of benefits to the VA loan, and there should be. So things like that are what your realtor's going to know, their mortgage person's going to know. All these people are going to be able to help you prepare. And when it comes time to buy, which again, this is a primo time of year to do that.
It is. It's time now. And let me tell you a little secret about the VA.
It's a secret.
Okay, it's a secret. Anybody can assume a VA loan.
Nice. I had one of those once.
Yeah. So you can, they're assumable by anyone. You don't have to actually be in the military or government in order to assume somebody else's VA loan.
That is an amazing thing. And I actually had a client once that it was a VA person buying a VA person's home, assuming the loan, because their rate was like 3.1 or something.
Right. So if somebody bought a few years ago, that's what it would be.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and this gentleman was assuming this person's loan because of that low rate, meaning a low payment. And, but he also assumed his VA status. So then they had to transfer my buyer's VA status to the seller's VA status, so he could then go into Carolina and buy his home.
Yeah.
So
we have workarounds for sure. We do. But how great would it be? You're not government, you're not military, nothing like that. And you get to assume a VA loan at a low interest rate.
Nice.
You just need to find the realtor that knows how to do it.
That's right. So those are some of the things, like if you're thinking of buying, even again, if it's way off in the distance, you need to give me a call or someone that you know or trust to get the process going for you. And somebody that you really understand and know they have your best interest at heart, because really that's why we're here. It's about you and your family and your business and your best interests that we're going to work for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jimmy Ray's number's at the bottom. My Facebook QR code's at the top. So if you want to talk to somebody on the phone, give Jimmy Ray a call. If you just want to send a message, go ahead and hit that QR code and we'll answer you, no problem.
Absolutely.
So listen to what happened this last week.
All right.
Well, I say last week all the time. I'm Italian. So
Right.
I say last week all the time.
Okay.
Like, what happened the other day? And it was like months ago. So every week we have Stump the Broker, and all the top agents come in, they try to stump me. It's
Yeah.
my favorite time
It's hilarious,
of the
actually.
week. Yeah, it is. And it's wonderful. There's so much knowledge. People who are new
Yeah.
find out information. People who are tenured find out information. Like, nobody leaves there without
You're
having
right.
knowledge.
I mean,
right?
I find
It's
out
really
something
good.
every time I go there. It's a very interesting class.
Absolutely. So we started talking about square footage. And one of the agents said, hey, the house that we're looking at now, the square footage is stated to be, I'm going to say 1,500.
Okay.
And the tax record showed 1,500.
Okay.
And the listing showed 1,500.
Okay.
Everything was 1,500.
All right.
So we wrote a contract, ratified, and here we go. Inspector came in,
Yeah.
and it was 1,000.
Oh, what happened?
So it was 1,000. And so everyone's like, oh, that can't be right. You can go back, you can go against it.
Yeah.
Not true. So
The inspector or the appraiser?
the inspector ended up just
Measuring the
doing it.
house?
Yeah.
Really?
So here's the thing. Well, it was because it was an investor, and the investor had the inspector come in. It was anyway. They were questioning the square footage just
Yeah,
for the eyeball.
okay.
Here's the thing: our contracts, and this is not in every state, but the contracts in our area all state that you need to do your due diligence before you ratify the contract.
Mm.
When ratifying the contract, when you sign your John Hancock on it, you're agreeing to whatever that square footage is what square footage is.
Mm. So
Not even if it's stated wrong. And this ended up actually being, because I used 1,500 and 1,000 just for easy numbers, but this one was actually almost 800 square feet off.
wow.
Yes.
And it's been being sold as that time after time.
Time after time.
So you're saying so how would you affect a pre-ratification?
Well, what I'm going to tell everybody
inspection?
now that we all have this knowledge after me reading extensively into the contract.
Yeah.
And luckily we have attorneys on staff. And so I'm not on staff, but they're part of our closing company.
Right, exactly.
I can't say on staff, but they're a phone call away.
They're our posse.
Yeah.
They're in our posse.
They really are. They're really great. They're a phone call away. So I'm talking to them and they're like, yeah, you need to do your due diligence beforehand. So what I'm telling everybody is, listen, here's the thing. You walk in the house and you love the layout and you love everything about it. Wonderful. You know, it's your choice to continue to go on. But for agents, you better be telling your clients, hey, we need to measure now. You don't think this is it. You don't think this square footage is it. We need to measure now. Also, number
Wow.
2, as an agent, you can always take a laser level measurer.
Mhm.
So they're usually all in one. They are level, it's a laser. You can go boop, 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 all through the house and do a quick measurement. It won't be like precise, but it'll be close. It's
Yeah.
it's going to tell you if it's 800 square feet off. That's
Right.
for sure.
Right.
The third thing is you can just be very cautious and just make sure it's measured before you ratify.
Mhm.
It doesn't take that long. It really
Now,
doesn't.
can you, well, I know I can,
Mhm.
but would you recommend an addendum into the
that's
contract?
The fourth. Yeah. So the fourth is you can have your agent actually write, which is what we all discussed, writing into the contract that if the square footage is off by whatever it may
Yeah.
be, that
It's contingent upon the square
Correct.
footage being at
And that
least
is
within
what-
100 or
yeah, we have a compliance broker, and she was like, we're putting it not an addendum, but as a contingency because we need it contingent.
Mm.
And then that way it gives you more time. That's the fourth thing.
And I missed that class.
I know, but isn't that crazy?
That is really crazy.
Because you would think in your head, we ratify, we got to do inspections now. We got to
Yeah,
make sure everything's okay.
yeah.
Well, that's just not part of it.
And usually, in every deal I've ever done, we go by what the tax records say the square footage is. Now, if it's an obvious whatever, this is not 2,500 square feet, then an agent on their toes is going to spot that and we'll figure it out. But I mean, normally tax record says it's 2,500. That's what we're writing down here. But if there's any question, that on the ball agent needs to cover your butt on
Yeah,
that.
and write it as a contingency. It needs to be a contingency. Remember that word. For anybody else that's in another state, I am curious. I am curious as what your contract says. I want to know what the verbiage in your contract says because ours was very, very clear
Yeah.
that you needed to do it before you ratified.
Well, and also I know that a lot of real estate folks watch this, but for those of you that are just regular human beings that have jobs and go to work and come home every day that may not understand some of the terminology, a contingency in a contract says basically it is, well, we'll buy the place if it meets this criteria. So if the square footage is correct, then we'll go on and buy the place. But that gives you, once you sign that, ratify that contract, meaning, okay, I'm going to buy it. I agree to the terms. If you don't have that contingency in there, then you're kind of hanging out to the wind. Whatever it is what it's going to be. So that's why an agent needs to put a contingency in saying, well, if it's within 100 square feet of what it says it is, we're good.
So it's just contingent upon what you put in. The best example of that is if you have a house to sell in order to buy. So you have to sell the house you're in order to buy. It would be contingent upon the sale of your home.
Yeah.
So it's just once that home sells, then you can move forward. Now, here's the problem with contingencies, though.
Okay. especially in a market like this.
Yes. He's going to knock all the.
Here we go.
Okay. He's excited. So the problem with contingencies is that you could possibly have somebody else that's coming in later on, putting in another offer, and then you have the choice at that moment whether you're going to remove your contingency or keep it and move forward. And they also have the choice. So there is a little underlying item there.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing too is, as a seller, the offer with the least amount of contingencies is the one I'm probably going to go for, if given the price is right, because the least resistance during this process as a seller, that's kind of what I want.
Yeah, you want the largest net. And I will say, as sellers, measure your home. It doesn't take that long. I promise you. You
don't have to have a laser. You can use the tape measure.
You could, but it's quick with a.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. That way, you know what you got, and nobody can question it because no, I measured it. It is 2,500.
Because if you happen to be in this situation and you're the seller and you go off the market for a certain amount of time, that is market time. So you're off the market, you're ratified, and now here you are, without anyone else seeing or making offers. Somebody else could also go along and purchase another home. So that's precious time.
Absolutely, it is, and that brings me to the fact of how your agent is so crucial in these kind of situations because A, their negotiating skills, but B, their ability to have a relationship with other agents so that it's really kind of both agents working in the same direction for their clients. But, that relationship is key. And if it's combative, things get really crazy. So if you have an agent that knows how to, just let me know if there's anything you need. I'll help you, whatever. Keeping you in mind, you're my first responsibility. But in terms of making that deal work, greasing the joints, make sure that it doesn't squeak. That's what it's all about. And that's how you get to a successful closing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or closing period. Because sometimes if your agent is not good at negotiations or approachable and negotiations, like those are key when it comes to talking to the other side.
I got to say, I don't look approachable today.
It's okay.
I keep rubbing the mic. Sorry
about that. It's a good story, though.
It is, and I'm going to tell it on the radio today.
Yeah, you should. It's a good story. The other thing that's happening in our world is coming soon. So a lot of other MLSs have allowed coming soon. Now, what is coming soon? Coming soon means I'm coming in and we're going to sell your property. We're going to list it, and we're going to list it next week. And you were like, hey, go ahead and market it now. It's coming soon. Let's see. Let's get the ball rolling.
Let's get interest going already.
So they were considering that not a good thing. And we weren't allowed to do it in a lot of areas. But some you were allowed to do it in. Curious as to those out there if it affected you. But they just passed a ruling, Realtor Association, the National Association of Realtors, that they were going to allow this to happen. Now, here's the kicker. We are in a bubble, which we love.
We love our bubble.
We love our bubble here in Hampton Roads.
It's such a cute bubble.
We really love it.
Yeah.
Lovely and has sparkles and glitter and it's wonderful. Kind of like Glenda's bubble.
Yes.
So, it's lovely. Now, the problem with also being in a bubble is that we have a mini bubble inside of our bubble for our MLS. Now, our MLS is not run by the Realtor Association. There's only, I think, 7 left in the U.S. that are not run by the Realtor Association. Our MLS said, we don't care what the ruling was.
And I'm not sure what the problem with it is, actually.
Unanswered, right?
That's my question for today.
Let me give you the answer.
But, it is what it is. But let me ask you this.
Yes.
Can an agent show the property when it's coming soon? So it's just alerting the media.
They don't want a pocket listing. They don't want someone to make a deal with somebody before it's live.
Right, but in terms of showing that property, can you? Okay.
Nothing. Can't advertise it, can't show it, can't talk about it, can't do anything.
Just put a sign saying coming soon.
Now, our area has multiple MLSs. If you are a member of another MLS that's part of the Realtor Association, and you're also a member of this MLS that happens to not be part of the Realtor Association, there's two different rules here, right? The other one says you can have a coming soon, and this one says you can't. Unfortunately, you have to go by the stricter of the one, so you can't do it in any.
Wow. That's almost a good reason to quit this MLS.
Well, you can't,
so that I
though,
can on the other side.
because there's so many areas down here that it
Yeah,
provides,
right. The majority of people.
It is, yeah. And so it's rough. It's rough. I mean, you can, but it's just a hard position.
But that's the kind of stuff. I mean, again, I'm speaking to Mr. and Mrs. Homebuyer. That's the kind of stuff that your agents are going to know and know how to deal with. That you on your own may not.
Right.
It's like, I don't know, whatever your business is. If I was going to try to do something that had something to do with your business, I would probably ask you for your advice. You know what I mean? And so that's what an agent's
for opinion,
good
at
for.
least.
Absolutely. Like, make sure you're not wasting any time or money or effort. You're going in the right direction from day one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will tell you this: commission is negotiable. It always has been. It always will be. It is something that can be negotiated with the contract. We did have a situation Saturday night, and the other side had asked us to reduce our commission to make a deal work. Now, we're all for making a deal work. We will do whatever can happen. But they were refusing to reduce theirs. So it wasn't a give and take, We'll always make sure that our client's taken care of, and we're going to do what we can. But it just kind of shows you the type of person and the situation that they were in.
And again, that comes back to, okay, what's your relationship with the agent?
Right.
Does your agent have a good working relationship and understanding of that other agent? Because when I go to recommend, if I've got 4 contracts and I'm going to my seller saying, well, this one's this is this, and they inevitably will say, what's your opinion, Jimmy? And my opinion is based on several things. Obviously, the price is great. Number of contingencies is great. But the workability of their agent, because some agents, I'm not giving up anything. So it's going to be my 3%. Somebody's paying me 3%. That's their position.
Or 6 or 10 or whatever the situation
exactly.
is.
So,
all negotiable. There's no set standard.
For me, and I've done this on occasion to make deals work, as has everybody here. You got to be flexible, because again, it goes back to the beginning of the conversation. It's about your business. And we're here this is our living, but it's first and foremost about what's good for you, what's best for you. And that's where our head is at.
Absolutely. And there's always situations. Of course, we asked and try to dive into which was on the other side, and they just didn't, period. But it was just sad because we were willing, but they weren't. And it finally got worked out, but it was all on our side, which is okay. It's fine. It just kind of shows, though, that some people just don't want to negotiate. It's not they don't know how, they just don't want to.
Yeah.
And that's sad, because especially right now, we're all in this together. We're all trying to help out these 2 clients. And the other client was not happy with the situation, and that agent for that. Why, I don't know, but and I told him that was unfortunate. So I didn't have anything else more to say. That was unfortunate. I know how to rectify that. I said,
right.
And you do too.
I think it's unfortunate. I think some people, though, I do think there are agents that are uncomfortable in negotiating back and forth.
Oh, for sure.
And really maybe don't have that skill that is very helpful to the seller.
They feel dominated, and
and
they don't like confrontation,
and they take it personally and all that kind of stuff. And really, that's a waste of time and energy on everybody's part.
Well, the first time that they feel, because they always confrontation. Okay, if you think negotiation's a confrontation, you're doing it incorrectly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Incorrectly. And there are agents out there that are very aggressive and dominating, but you have to know how to handle that and deal with that.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite thing to do when someone is so angry or upset or dominating or aggressive is, in my head, my goal is I want to make them say thank you to me by the end. So I'm as nice as pie. I put out a lot of information that's factual, intelligent information.
Yeah.
And by the end, 9 times out of 10, they just say, thank you. Thank you so much for whatever the situation is. And so I don't go back with, aggression with aggression, dominance with dominance. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, no. And so, I mean, and my style is from the get-go to make sure we have a great working relationship, because in the end, we're just trying to get our people to the finish line for them, whether it's the seller or the buyer. And so the best situation is going to be when we're both professionals and we both understand what's going on here. That's why the relationship, the ability to figure out and feel out that other person's whole vibe, that other agent's vibe, is so key and so important to this business.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let us know what else you want to hear from Unanswered. This is our first one pushing out. We've done them in the past, but this one for Unanswered with Jimmy Ray and Tomasina is our first one pushing it out. We welcome everyone to give us some input and let us know what you want to hear and see. We're going to leave the comments open below for a little bit. You guys can totally put in there what you want. We're going to read each one of them.
Yeah.
Again, Jimmy Ray's number's at the bottom. And if you don't want to talk to somebody on the phone, you can go right over to the QR code, and that'll pop you right into my Facebook, and we're going to answer all of them together. So
yeah, we leave no questions unanswered.
All right, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we will see you later.
Peace. Thank you.